Alright, here we are with 5 down to 4, which is point slope form. If you would go ahead, pause your video, do your heading, and there's one vocab word, and then come on back. Our one vocab word here is, in fact, point slope form, which makes sense because, that's the name of the section. So in the previous lesson, we talked in 5.3 about slope intercept form. That's one way to write the equation for a line. Another way to write an equation for a line is point slope form. Now you can take slope intercept form and actually mathematically change that around into point slope form. Save that for your math teacher next year to explain, but mathematically they do rearrange fairly easily. So what we're going to do here is take a close look at point slope form. When you're talking about point slope form, you're going to have y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Now, I'm sure you notice that we have x, we have y, and then we have x1 and we have y1. You're used to seeing from the distance formula and slope formula, you're used to seeing x1, y1, x2, y2. So you might be wondering why one of our order pairs has subscripts, the ones, and the other pair doesn't. You may have been thinking, did she forget the twos? But I didn't. What this is showing us is that these are general. We have x, we have y. Those are general terms. These, the ones, are a specific order pair that we're working with. So we have one specific order pair that we're working with, and we have the slope. The point is that one order pair that we're working with, so our x1, y1, and our slope, of course, is the m. So that is our equation that we're working with. When we go to problem 1, you are given two things. You're given a point and you're given the slope. So the two things that we need for this particular form, the point and the slope. In problem 1, they tell us to take a look at -3, 6, and a slope of -5. So we're going to plug that into this. y1 is going to be 6, x1 is going to be -3. So we're saying y minus 6 equals the slope, which is -5, times x minus -3, minus a negative, of course, that double negative becomes a positive. Keep in mind, just as we did with with slope intercept form, that form was y equals mx plus b. We had to be careful to remember that it was plus in the equation. Here you need to be careful to remember that those are supposed to be subtraction signs. So if you see a positive or a plus sign in either of these, then you know that you need to change the sign of your second number because the actual equation here has minus signs in it. So this would be our equation. Try got it 1a. Come on back. We have a point of 8, -4, and a slope of 2/3. So we're again plugging it into this equation. We have y plus 4 equals 2/3 times x minus 8. So y plus 4 equals 2/3 times x minus 8. That would be your equation. In problem 2, we are given an equation. So y minus 1 equals 2/3 times x minus 2. Again, remember that in the equation, these are subtraction signs. So we know that our point we're working with is 2, 1. And we know that our slope equals 2/3. When you do this, you're asked to graph. you're going to this point that we're given, 2, 1. So you're going to over 2, up 1, and that's your first point. Just like in the last section, once you found your first point, which in the last section we were on the y-axis for that first point, then you're going to use your slope to figure out where your next point is. So in this case, our slope is 2/3, positive 2/3, so we're going up 2, over 3, up 2, over 3. So our next 2 points would be there and there. We can connect those points, make our line, and we are good to go. Try that. Got it 2. So got it 2, they give us the equation y plus 7 equals 4. So we know in our equation this should be a minus sign. It's not, it's a plus sign, which means that we could change that out for a minus, a negative. So our order pair that they have given us here is 4, -7, and our slope is -4/5. So when we go to graph this, we're starting at 4, 7, and then our slope is -4/5. So we would go down 4, ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we go to the right 5. So about here, and then again down 4 to the right 5, and that would be my line. Next, we have problem 3 on page 341. Here you are given 2 points. So even though the section that we're in is talking about point slope form, in problem 3 you're given 2 order pairs. So if you look at problem 3, we are given a graph, which we can see the 2 order pairs we have are -2, -3, and 1, 4. We can pick one of these to plug in for our x1, y1, but the other thing that we need is slope. So we're going to need to use that slope formula that we have talked about previously. And we're going to decide which ones are our 2's and which ones are our 1's. Making sure you keep your 2's together, your 1's together, and then we can substitute in. And we get our slope, which is 7/3. Now I have my slope. I have a point. I can use either point, it doesn't matter. In fact, let me show you what that does. So if I'm using 1, 4, I would say y minus 4 equals 7/3 times x minus 1. So that's one point slope form. If I use this other point, it's going to look a little bit different. I get y minus -3 equals 7/3, and then x minus -2. So these you could both change to plus. Even though these are different numbers in here, if you work these out, so if we distribute that 7/3, they're going to end up being equivalent equations. So either one is okay, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Either one is okay. They're both proper point slope forms. One of you could have this one of you could have this one, and you would both be right. So watch those negative signs. Remember that they are in this equation. So when you're plugging in a negative number, it's actually going to become plus a positive because you have that double negative situation happening. If you were to try this got it 3, you can do that. Go ahead, pause your video, and then come back. We're going to look at got it 3. We have -2, -3, and oh, never mind. I already did got it. I already did it because I did it both ways. Yeah, great. I already did it both ways. So we're good. So moving on then to the last problem. They give us a table here. So essentially they've given us 4 order pairs. We can pick any of those order pairs to work our magic on. So in the book, they picked 590 and 30, 640 and 10. So why don't we'll pick the other 2 points. So there's 90, 440, and 70, 490. So we're using the other 2 points to see what happens with our slope. We're going to subtract our y's, subtract our x's, make sure you keep them in the right order. So this is one order pair, this is the other order pair. And I get 50 over -20, which reduces to -5/2. Then I can take one order pair or the other and make my equation. So I'm going to say y minus 490 equals -5/2 times x minus 70. When you're doing this, again, it doesn't matter which order pair you choose. Just make sure you're putting that in for the y and this in for the x. And make sure you have those subtraction signs because that's what our formula says that we need to use. If you would like to try got it for A, go ahead, pause your video, and then come on back. With got it for A, again, you're given a table, so there are 4 order pairs. You can choose whichever 2 you want. It doesn't even have to be 2 that are consecutive. It can be, I don't know, it could be the first one and the last one. Why don't we do that? So we have 2, 3,320. A rather large order pair there. And 8, 10,820. So I'm going to figure out my slope first, which is the difference between my 2 y's, and then the difference between my 2 x's. Okay. 7,500 over 6, which I can reduce here. Be 1,250 would be my slope, and that'd be over 1, which is just 1,250. And then I can figure out which order pair I want to use here. I'm going to use the first one, I think, and say y minus 3,320 equals 1,250 times x minus 2. So that would be a good point slope form for got it 4. You could use this one pair, you could use any of the other order pairs that they have given us. So there's 4 possibilities for your order pairs. No matter what 2 numbers you use for your x1, y1, your slope is going to be the same. So our slope for any of the combinations should work out to be 1,250. You might have to reduce it if you use different numbers, but it's always going to reduce to 1250 because that's what the slope is. So there you have it. The next thing that I would like you to do is try some of these problems from 5-4. So going back to page 340, I would like you to do number 9 through 15 by 3s, and page 343, I would like you to do 5, 7, and 9. 5, 7, and 9. 5, 7, and 9. I will see you soon with the homework review. Take care.